Well, hello, I'm Tim, and welcome to my house, 4669 Angelena Way. Come on in. I'm excited to show you around, in particular because this home, I really enjoy the personality of. Okay, well, one of my favorite things is actually this entryway. In particular, the stained glass windows, which are handcrafted by a local stained glass artisan. I just love looking at them, see the light filtering through both sides. A particular thing my wife and I enjoy is laying out in the pool behind and looking through the patio doors to the stained glass with the setting sun filtered in front of them. It's absolutely lovely. Probably my favorite ceiling in the house is the ceiling of this, well, you could call it the dining room, which is what we're using it for right now, but we've also used it as a library, given the bookshelf over there. We've gotten, my wife will correct me on this one, but I know at least 14, potentially 16 people into this room at once with the leaf expanded. And you might be a person that likes bigger dinner parties. Well, we are too. And so that's what we have the great room for. And the great room is, just as its name implies, a great big room smack dab in the middle of the house. We love this for, in fact, we've had 40 plus people at one time in this room. And is it loud? Yeah, it is loud, but that's why you have doors to the outside, which we always have open. In fact, in the morning, we have them open. At night, if it's cool, we have them open and you can walk right into your pool if you want. And off the great room is the kitchen, because all the people in the great room definitely want food, and this is where the food is prepared. Over here, we have a little breakfast nook, which is where me and my family usually wind up eating, since we're not insanely formal. Let's take a look at the Eastern bedroom suite to begin with, and it's a feature my wife and I love about this house is that there are two first floor bedroom suites. We've really enjoyed that. This one, our favorite thing about it is probably the bay window. This window in itself and the trim we enjoy looking at, let alone taking a look at the actual view from it. Then we have back here the actual ensuite bathroom. And here's probably one of my slightly, well, almost always overlooked, but probably favorite features of the house. And that is the ceiling in this bathroom. The builder, he was German, though American, but he was over in a beer hall in Germany once, and he was looking up at the ceiling, and he said, I'd like to build that. And so he came back home and he built it here in the bathroom. So we got a water closet, typical shower, double vanity, I'll turn a light on for you. And then actually there are two things I love about this bathroom suite. One, I'll show you in a moment, which is the beer hall ceiling, but also this little window in the walk-in closet, which if you open it up, do you hear that? Probably not, because I'm Mike and the fountain isn't, but you can hear the actual fountain from the koi pond, which I so enjoy. That's one of the primary suites on the main floor. Let's take a look at the other end of the house, which is the western end of the house. And there's a redundant suite over there. We've got a big laundry room here. We got access to a 3-car garage here, but we really like the second suite, which is, we were gonna have my mom actually stay here. Back when my father passed away, her favorite color was blue. So this room is blue. Our favorite thing about this room is the view from this bay window. In fact, I wish it were nighttime right now, because with all the lights on the pergola and looking over at the outdoor eating, fire pit, and then pool, it's just sort of magical. Ensuite bathroom here. So now, ladies and gentlemen, not every house has a World War II basement bunker, but this house does, and I love it. My grandfather was in World War II. He was a B-24 pilot, and he was in the 13th Air Force, called the Jungle Air Force, in the same bomb squadron as famous Louis Zamperini of Unbroken fame. So I have a little homage to him down here. 307th Bomb Group, 371st Bomb Squadron, and have some of his paraphernalia on the walls. And actually a lot of his paraphernalia Down here, this is the Pacific Island bunker part of things, where we enjoy watching World War II movies. And I just love sitting down with an old phonograph, listening to vintage music. Rest of the basement, we've used it for tons of stuff. Ping pong, pool, right now we have weights and art here. So that's the main part of the basement. And then the smaller part of the basement, our daughter's craft room, was right here, and she loves drying flowers. This is my Civil War museum right back here. And then our son's music room and the sauna is right here. And the sauna, we never really use too much as a sauna. Okay, so that's the basement. Let's head on up now to the second floor of the house. But before we show you that, this is the mezzanine. I love the view, especially in the winter, out these windows. You can see Mount Lassen in the distance, and before those trees grew, you could also see Mount Shasta. Front of the house, my daughter's room, she had the great view, which unfortunately is now blocked by walnut trees across the yard. She had the great view of Mount Shasta. And then in here is, again, what we call the Saranac room. And there are a couple things I love about this room. First off, the Camp Saranac portion of it, our daughter's old, really large stuffed animal. My favorite thing to do in this room is to sit on a Sunday afternoon on the window seat, look out, if it's February, enjoy the almond blossoms, both from a sight and a smells perspective. Because with that window open, you can see them and you can smell them. The other thing I love about this room is this is what we have called our listening room. If you see over here, our LP collection and our CDs, Wall Street Journal just had an article on how listening rooms with no technology, so no phones allowed, are getting to be all the rage. And so my son and I both love music. We get right here in the center of the old time stereo and blast the LPs and CDs. Attic access through there. And then, speaking of my son, his room is at the southern end of the house. And then finally, the best thing about this room, apart from my son, is the view. And here with this view, you can look down, and a local craftswoman, Janice, she actually created the Koi Pond River that encircles the swimming pool, as well as the sunburst mural in the center of the swimming pool. So you get a great view of that and the rest of the property from this second story room. Okay, and here's our backyard. Love the open patio here with the outdoor speakers. We've had massive parties out here, and the nice thing about this is the outdoor speakers are really, really loud, and you don't have to worry about the neighbors because they're 10 acres away. So that's just been a wonderful part, having quite a bit of land surrounding the actual house. You can be as loud as you want to, and with teenagers and all of their friends, me oh my, that definitely happened in this backyard. So this is the pool. Back there we have more pomegranates than you'd ever want to eat. Some type of berry my wife knows the name of, I don't. The outdoor kitchen area, and then a raised garden box area that my wife has grown tomatoes and flowers. And that is our backyard. Okay, coming from the backyard, we have our 3-car garage here on the side, front entryway, surrounded by the orchard. One thing we really like about this area is there is enough concrete for the mafia to bury, I don't know, at least 40 bodies in. The concrete is everywhere, and this circular aspect of this driveway is really nice, especially for delivery trucks. Over here we have our shop, which is another of my favorite. Oh, before the shop, I should show you back there is the solar. We've loved having solar. It's been nice to have an entire orchard without a true up. Anyway, but over here is the shop, and then one of my favorite outdoor locations for the property. I'll quick show you before I show you the shop, and that is our redwood grove. What it's great for is outdoor dinner parties. Our daughter had her Sweet 16 out here. We've hosted bachelorette parties and wedding party receptions and birthday parties, innumerable. If you look down here, it's sort of like a cathedral, and imagine it at nighttime with tables going down this entire cathedral of trees and then lights strung above it. And it's pretty magical in the evening, and probably one of my favorite parts of the property. Okay, let's now go and take a look at the shop. So this shop I have loved. tractor and farm equipment on this side. We also have the farm office in there, which doubles as if you want a little place to put extra guests and that sort of thing. One of the rooms here in the shop is my shop. Almost cut my finger multiple times on that chop saw. And then there are two other interesting aspects for the shop. First, what's the shop's office, which this is not a load supporting wall, so it can be removed to have big barn dances in here. We actually had a barn dance once. But the office has built in its own little bathroom, has a little kitchen area, and then there's a side bedroom in here, which the prior owners who actually built the house, one of them owned All Fired Up Ceramics in Chico, and she had her kiln in here. So there's actually a 240 volt switch here. Final thing that I sort of like is I have always wanted a bunk room. And as a kid, I loved cowboys. That's the cowboy poster. I love cowboys, and I always wanted to have a bunk room. And we have a bunk room in this place. So you have to go all the way up these stairs. And right now the bunk room is not serving really as a bunk room. It's basically just an empty storage room. But you can see that there's a lot of space for a good old bunk room with running water, hot water heater, and all of that sort of thing. So that's the shop. Okay, so that is our house. Thank you so much for joining me on a tour. I've loved showing it to you. I've also loved living here. My wife and kids and I have been so grateful for this house. It has so many precious family memories for us. And if you're interested in the house, in the description below, you can go to chicofarmhouse.com and check it out, because yes, we are selling our farmhouse. So thanks again. Have a wonderful day.